Yeah, start करेंगे. Good morning to everybody. So, I'm Hardan Biswas, academic counselor of IGNOU. So today we have discussed MNPH 001, the organizational theory and design. And today we have to discuss about the block number 4 that we have to discuss. That is, let's see the thing that is your block number 4 is job design. Okay. In job design, there are 2 units. Unit number 8 approaches to job design, and unit 9 is your emerging trend at works. And some of the portion of your unit 7, that is contemporary organizational design, that also we have to discuss in this today's session. So let's go for unit number 7, that is our balance of block number 3, where you have to see the factors influencing changing organizational design, choosing the appropriate organizational design, and your some of the diagnosis issues and concept, that part you have to see. So, due to technological advances, the concept of sense and the response organizations are doing the sound of recent times, because a lot of changes are going on because of the globalization of some of the evolution process. So the progress made in technology, e-business, service delivery, and your capabilities has developed highly networked organizations. In today's world, the major challenge of the firm is the same as that of the consultancy firms, and that is facing unpredictable demand. Change in any environmental factor is a constant threat and the opportunity. And therefore, the organizations require speed and flexibility more than the fixed defined structures. So a lot of changes are going on. The organizations facing unpredictable demand and changing factors need to focus on the intellectual sources and thus rely on free, fluid, and temporary designs. So that means nowadays the structural designs are basically the dynamic nature. Depending on situations, you have to change your structural portions. So the organizations need to be at the focal point of that transformations, that is inclusively and the employee voice, changing workplace dynamics, role of the organization's environment. The environment can be classified into 2 categories: task environment and your general environment. The role of the international environment is also a factor. That part is also to be in a focal point. Now, as per the Michael Porter's competitive force and the strategies, there's in the threat of the new entrants, the power of suppliers, and the power of buyers, the threat of substitutes, rivalry among the existing competitors. These all are the competitive forces, and based on these, you have to take some strategies. Now, organizational diagnosis issues in the concept. So, what are the diagnosis process that we see? The main organizational design issues are: number one is your competing priorities due to poor governance, because one of the important issues the governance. So that is the first priority. We have to see how to compile all the things and towards the to meet the competitions. Unwanted turnover due to lousy role design, because which are the things are not required, so that we have to redesign and have to see it. The unwanted things are to be deleted, to be reduced. Inaccessible process due to excessive span of control, because sometimes if your span of control is more, then there are chances of insensibility, accessible. You cannot assess your subordinate on a regular basis. So, a cross-functional revival due to misaligned incentives. That's one of the important point. Then now organizational issues that emerge due to a contingent workforce. So workforce is one of the issues. So there are seasonal occupations and the contractual work, both of which they employ individuals for a particular time based on the nature of services. The employees are generally a part of the temporary work arrangements, often contemporary and freelancing. All the process involved in maintaining employee relations and engagement may differ from the standard method, because as usual, whatever your allotted employees, you are doing the regular works, but even though it may not be sufficient, so that case you have to hire some of the people, some of the workforce you required to fulfill your project and to meeting the target. So that's why some of the temporary arrangement is required. Work agreement is over particular for 6 months or 1 year. You have to hire the peoples to do the job and finish the job. So that's such sort of contingent workforce are needed. Then your some other major design challenges are there. That is to ensure the employees stay connected, because the employees should be connected to each other. Then they shouldn't feel any isolated. So because of the technology has changes very fast. So as the technology has fostered the employees to stay connected despite the geographical challenge. The use of the networks and the video conferencing helps make way for telecommunicating and flexible work arrangements, because some of the other regions where the different plant is there, different equipment, you have to over the phone or over the network through these meeting, Zoom meetings or any through this way, you have to connect it with them so that they should not hamper the work itself. So that is one of the you have to ensure. There is a other way we can say it's the challenge, because so that your work arrangement should be in a flexible way. To manage the global structural issues, that is one of the when we are talking of the in the global senses, so their structure will be different. And what are the type of issues are there? That is organization design varies concerning culture and the geographies, because different geographical locations in the worldwide different cultures, different weather climates are also affecting the day-to-day work. Less advanced countries may witness formal structures that focus on the hierarchies, because those countries are not developed or underdeveloped conditions. There, the formal structure conditions are still going on. Economically developed countries have higher skill sets and the education is in the employees. So therefore, a flexible, empowering design can help the employees facilitate and the organizations too. So that type of arrangement should be there so that the skilled education work employees, unskilled, they should have some sort of a formal a network should be there so that basically the facilitations should be there to keeping in view of the organizational score. Now you see here some of the flat organization structure has fewer management layers than a traditional structure. A flat organization is also a distributed management system where not one person in the boss and the employees can all the employees make a equal important decisions can they be all the levels they can participate. So original organization structures showing one of the typical views that you see the plant manager is there, only one plant manager, and the manufacturing manager, sales manager, engineering managers, HR managers are directly reporting these things, and whatever the subordinate or the span of control systems are there. So that the team is automatically there. As a team, they are doing their assignments and valuing these things. So one, you see the value the diversity workforce and the new product development team. So this way you can see it. So this is one of the typical arrangement for the horizontal organization structures. To move towards the building a flexible organizations, specific steps to need to be looked after. So the following are the different steps that our organizational can take. So some of these steps we have to discuss now, so that where you can have build a flexible organizations. The informal ties in the organizations need to be observed and understood timely. Means what are the required some of the informational ties is required. So that need to be observed and in timely you have to do. It is always better to view the organizations as a whole rather than separate components, because often as a macro level you have to see it, and you don't see it in a separate component wise, then it's better. Always maintain the core and focus on challenging, changing and the experimenting at the areas. So to maintain the core areas, the initiative focuses on solving the complex situations by removing unnecessary administrative pains. So some sort of initiative should be there to solve any complex situation or arise or something there, so that how to remove the unnecessary part that to be needed, and so that there should not be any administrative pains. Building a flexible another 2 3 points are there. Ensure that there is proper communication and the communication among the teams and the employees wherever needed. So that he has to see the communication of the very vital point. Is the pivotal things connecting with the people. So communication has to be robust and strong enough. So there should not be any disturbance or any loopholes. I mean, the communication should be very free, bi-directionals, and so that the employee viewpoint can be transferred very easily. They can their views. Today, any moment they can send their messages or whatever it is. We can discuss. Yes. So that type of one of the is required. Use of data analytics to solve the complex problem. Because data analytic tools and tactics should be there, and should be latest analytics systems should be there. So that type of software to be developed, I mean, to be ready for that, so that any complex problems can be sorted out. So that part is also important. To accelerate the process of decision making in significant matters, it is essential to empower employees and teams whenever needed. Uh, the words to needed whenever it is needed. So that is to be accelerated for the decision making purposes. Now, see approaches of the job designs. How what are, now I was talking about the block number 4, the job designs, as, approaches to the job. Here we have to see some of the your what is the meaning of the job, then your occupation and careers, meaning of the job design, purpose of the job design, what are the factors influencing the effective job designs, approaches to job designs, and contemporary approaches, job design and the technologies, designing of the suitable jobs, impact of the high technology on the job designs, and immediate uh, impedance job designs. And unit 10, there are emerging trends in the work, where introduction, we have to see the some emerging trends also there, what are they going on, and some quality of the life, work life. Now we see here, taking into account all these considerations, the occupation is defined as a your social role performed by adult members of the society. What you are earning, where your position, what the occupation you have. You are a doctor, you are an engineer, or you are a teacher. So that it seems to be where your positions, where your occupations in the society, and society, what the way the society are accepting you. The directly and the indirectly bears the social and the financial consequences, and that constitutes a major focus in life of the adult. So it is all is written in 1975. That's quotation is given like this. A job is a person's occupations at one point of time. A point in time. A career is the unfolding sequences of the jobs and that a person has over the life courses. So, what life, the span of life, what are the sequences one by one he has achieved or unfold. So that is your we can say is the career. Uh, Occupation is a point, a particular that point, what your occupation is. So that is the some of the differentiate between the occupation and the career. Basically, there are two approaches to design job designs. So the first approach is developed by F.W. Taylor, is the scientific management led management led on the research and the experimentation to determine the most efficient way to perform the jobs. Jobs are highly standardized and specialized. So Taylor advocates a vertical job realization, specialization so that the detailed procedures and the work practices are developed by engineers, enforced by the supervisors, and executed by the employees. So there is a basically the definition and I mean the approaches there. Who has given this things project? It is Taylor. Taylor has given this idea. It should be a scientific, should be a experimental system should be there. Standards should be very high and specialized should be there. So all these things are yes given an idea. Now, what are the advantages of this? So advantage is job specialization increases, you know, then your work efficiency and employees productivity also to be increased. That is the your advantage part. Now disadvantage is this: it increases work efficiency, uh, and then but it does not necessarily improve job performance because efficiency may be increased, but the job performance may not be. So it is ignores the effective of the job content and employees. So individual development or their performance cannot be notified easily. It costs more in terms of higher turnover, absenteeisms, and mental health problems because when the load is there, there's a chances there, higher turnover chances will be there, maybe more absenteeism will be there. So there are some of the disadvantages. Employees are concerned only with a small part of the process, so they cannot be identified with the customer's needs. Because when these are highly things are there, so employees may be concerned with their small part, this process only, their particular compartment, particular this area, they have to do it. And basically, they cannot identify what the customer needs. It ignores the motivational potential of the job, and it does not apply to professional knowledge workers. So professionally uh, knowledge workers may not be occurred, may not be obtained from these things. So these all are some of the uh, features are given, advantage and disadvantage. Now here are some of the various techniques of the job design is given, complexities they given on this, and what are the impact will be there, and what are the job rotations, and your job engineering, job enlargement, job engineering, and especially socio-chemical systems. So this is a part of this low, medium, and high categories. So you can see the conditions of these things. So now we have to explain one by one what see the job rotations and job engineering. That what we have to see it. Now another approach is there, the job design. Now we have to see the complexity dimensions. Now the complexity dimensions on the horizontal axis in the degree to which a job design approaches. That is changes in many factors and the involvement of the individuals and with the diverse competencies at various organizational levels, a high level of decision-making competency of the successful implementations. So there are three approaches given. So now we have to see that what are the job rotations. Now job rotations, the job rotation is a design. Job design involves periodic assignment of an employee to completely different states of job activities. So periodically it has to be changes by on process of the rotationally so that the competency employee can complete the different state of job and activities, and parallelly they can improve their potential, they can improve their knowledge also they can improve. Now job engineering. So job engineering is defined by the Frederick W. Taylor. He has established the basis of modern industrial engineering late in the 19th century. Job engineering focuses on the tasks to be performed, methods to be used, workflows among the employees, layout of the workplace, performance standards, and interdependencies between the people and the machines. Job design factors are to be examined by means of time and motion studies, determining the time required to be each task and the movements needed to perform the efficiency. So basically here we have to establish and you have to see that especially for the modern industrial engineering, you have to you can see here. So keystones of the job engineering is specialization of labor with the goal of achieving greater efficiency. High level of specializations are intended to. So this is your approaches to the job engineering part. Now, job enlargement. Job enlargement combines into one job with two or more tasks which are to be performed at a time. You have to enlarge. It's basically combine two or three jobs at a time. So sometimes it is called, we can say, the horizontal loading, because horizontally it is loading one load, then after the one load, then it is loading horizontal loading systems. So as all tasks involve the same level of responsibility, so the job enlargement approach often has positive effects on the employee effectiveness. So like this. Now we have to see job enrichment. Here, Fredericks has Barker said he has advocated of the two factory theory. There are two factory theory he has given. That is caution that jobs designed according to rules of simplification, enlargement, and rotation can be expected to be highly motivational for the workers. So here some of the your rotation part is there. Uh, will be there. So he instead suggests a clear and distinct job design alternative called the job enrichment. So that part is given. Basically, it is a two-factor theory. We are calling it a two-factor theory. Two-factor theory. Now, job enrichment seeks to add the profundity to a job by giving workers more control, responsibility, and freedom of choice over how their job is performed. It occurs when the work itself is more challenging, when achievement is encouraged, when there is a prospect for the growth, and when responsibility, feedback, and recognitions are growing. So now difference between job enlargement and job enrichment that we have to see. What are the different basic differences? The job enrichment focuses on satisfying higher order needs, and whereas the job enlargement concentrates on the adding additional tasks to the workers job for greater variety. So there one of the so enrichment they are focused on the higher order needs, and in this case of your enlargement, in the case of enlargement, this is considered on the task oriented, means the task to worker, the greater variety should be there. Adopting a new technology typically requires changes in the way jobs are designed. So often the way of tasks is redefined its people to the demands of the technology to maximize the technology's operations. So based on the demands, what are the demands are there, the technology are accordingly are to be adopted. But this often fails to maximize total productivity. But normally it has not fulfilled things because it ignores the human part of the equations. Because human capacity, human competency, human skills, human behavioral patterns are not ignored in these cases. The social relationships and the human aspects of the task may suffer. So it is lowering overall the productivity. The socio-technical systems approach to work design specifically addresses this problem. Now, socio-technical system approach. So under the social technical system approach, jobs are designed by taking a holistic of systems. The view of the entire job situations, including its physical and social environment. The social technical approach is a situational basis because few jobs involve in the identical technical requirements and the social surroundings. Specifically, the socioeconomic approach requires that the job designer should consciously be concerned and the role of employee in the socio-technical systems, the nature of the tasks performed, and the autonomy of the work group. So this is the part of your socio-technical. Now some of the essential elements of the socio-technical system approaches are under. So what are the elements that we have to see by sequences? one by one. The job need to be responsibly demanding for the individual in terms other than the sheer endurance, and yet provide some variety. It is not necessarily novelty. So variety is very important. Number two is the employees need to be able to learn on the job and to go on learning, because when we are deciding any jobs, there should be a learning, because learning should be there. You should improve the things. So that has to be seen. So that's why the employees need to be able to learn. Employees need some minimum area of decision making that they can call their own. So when the in the designing part, in the job design part, the some area should be there. There's some sort of provision should be there. The employees can contribute, can say something in their own way in the process of decision making. So employees need some minimal degree of social support and recognitions at the workplace. So when we are in the job, when we are in the when we are preparing the approach like this, so some social support will be there, and in the work recognitions should be maybe in the reward or something, or any sort of your appreciations are would be there. Employees need to be able to relate what they do and what they produce to their social life. So what they are actually doing, that knowledge, then only they are feeling some satisfaction, and so that they are also feel, yeah, I am also a part of the social life, and I am doing something good, and I'm for the betterment of the mankind. So that type of feelings it should relate with these things, what they are doing. So basically the joy when I do the job with a full satisfaction. Now contemporary approaches are there. The job characteristics approach, the job characteristics enrichment model includes increasing the amount of skill variety, task identity, task significance, autonomy, and the feedback in a job. So there are five core the core job dimensions are there. There are skill varieties, task identity, task significance, autonomy, and the feedback. What are the we have already defined. So these are all the characteristics of the job characters. That character should be there. We have to see. Now, goal setting and the MBA is one of the very important approaches in view management by objectives. So this concept was given by the Peter F. Drucker. General Electrics was the first company to adopt MBO. Again, actually, MBO means the management by objectives, and put it into practice. First, the Drucker, that concept has come in, and he has developed things. He has already applied, and he has done in practice his first times in the General Electrical Electrics. He has already applied these things, and it helps the concept it also. Because the Drucker that time he was a consultant of this General Electric company, and he has adopted these things. So EMBO is essentially a process of joint goal settings. It is a systematic and organized approach that allows the management to focus on the achievable goals and to attain the best possible results from available resources. So here a lot of things are coming as the optimization of these resources, optimization of the materials, and see the situations, and almost everything are covered uh, for the goal settings. The principle behind the MBO is to make sure that everybody within the organizations has a clear understanding of the aims, the objectives of the organization. This is a very important point. Everything should be clear. as well as the awareness of their own roles and responsibilities in achieving those roles. So they should be much aware of this thing, what their job, what they have to do it, what contribution are required, or other way the organizations are wanted from them. So that should be clear, and the role should be clear, and what are the responsibilities. Ultimately, the achieving the aims means what are the objectives are set by the management. So that everything has to be clear. Okay. Now, MBO strategy. In the strategy is saying that all individuals within an organization are assigned a special set of objectives uh, that they try to reach during a normal operating period. These objectives are mutually set and agreed upon by individuals and their managers. So, what are the objectives are decided? That is by the mutually set by the agreement. Here, actually, this point is to highlight some of the things. The individuals, um, what are the job, what are the tasks are there, that is decided by the both. When managers and individual sit together and they have to decide that this is the work, this is the objectives are theirs, and you have to do it. That's some sort of agreement. Not it may not be in written. Some sort of acceptance are there between the managers and the employees before start the work, before giving the responsibilities, giving assurance from the individuals. You have to perform these things. You have to accept these jobs. So, and this is the by the way we have mutual understandings are there, mutual agreement. So rather than I can say the mutual agreement is there, it is set it. Now performance reviews are conducted periodically. Once the agreement is uh, finished, then they have to start their jobs. Now uh, managers has to see they are performing at par the agreement or not, what they have already decided or set it. Maybe the target has fixed maybe 3 months or 6 months within this period. They have to do it. This is the task. That is to be reviewed. The performance reviews are conducted beautifully to determine how close individuals are to attaining their objectives. What they have objectives are set it. How much closer they are. It is 90% they have target the meet, or maybe the 85% they have target the meet, or nearer to the target, or maybe the less is the lagging, maybe the 50% away from the target. So everything has to be reviewed, and accordingly they have to motivate or redesign or recheck, or that should be done periodically approximately. Now, third point is this: rewards are given to individuals on the basis of how close they come to reaching the goals. If somebody has reached 93%, so definitely he is the right persons. They are contributing. So for that, you have to give some rewards, some appreciation. Yes, very good. Thank you very much. So that type of appreciation are also required as individuals. So that's why it is come to reaching there, or was targeted the things, fulfill as per the commitment, as per the agreement. So that is basically the MBO strategies. There are three parts in there. First, you have to make agreement. Then after that, you have to review the performance in time between. Periodically, you have to see, and finally, you have to based on this, you have to again review, final review. Then those who are already achieved, you have to give a reward. Those are not achieved, you have to see where the shortfalls, where are the problems they have faced. That I accordingly have to redesign the or re-agreement can be done and put again. Stages. Now we have stages. Define the objectives at the board level. But first you have to design the board level has to be designed. Analyze the management tasks and devise formal job specifications which allocate the responsibilities and the decision to individual managers. That part is the analysis part. Then set the performance standards. Then after that you have perform the set. agree and set specific objectives, align the individual targets with the corporate objectives. Here on the point, whatever the individual targets are there, that has to be seen by the really it is aligning with the corporate objectives or not. For example, suppose corporate objectives is there, particular one job, particular one activities. This is one, for example. But the individual target is uh, 45 days, maybe the um, or maybe the 2 months. Then it should not be a good objective. Then it is not aligned. So objective corporate objectives means the individual targets or individual objectives should be less than corporate objectives. Means what are the defined the date targeted by the corporate objectives? Before that, individual target should be met. Then only you can say it is a aligned. Otherwise, if it is a over, when the extra days are given, target date has already exceeded, our corporate objectives are not maintained, then it is, we cannot say it is a good alignment, not good target. The target should be nearer to corporate objectives, or maybe before you have to finish it up. So establish a management information systems to monitor the achievements against the objectives. MIS system should be very good in this case to fulfill the MBO strategy. So MI is one of the prime role maintaining. So system should be there. Information system also should be so nice so that there should not be any loopholes. The target can be made in time. If any supply shortage of some raw materials are there particular area, so then definitely it has to be provided immediately, because otherwise the individual target cannot be met, or OGTs also. So that's why the MI system is also there, so that always it has to be maintained. The raw materials stores are your inventory controls are properly there or not, so that supply component level and all the levels are flowless work are there. So communications, best communication, that is the management communications are to be good enough, then only you can achieve the objectives. Some of the key advantage of the and disadvantage. Advantage is this: MBOs programs continuously emphasize with what should be done and the organizations achieve organizational goals. MBO process secures the employees' commitment to attaining the organizational goals. So that is the advantage. Now, some of the disadvantages also there. The development of the objectives can be time consuming. It can be some time consuming, leaving both managers and employees less time in which do not to do their actual work. They elaborate written goals, careful communications of the goals, and the detailed performance evaluations required in the MBO program increase the volume of the paperwork in organizations. So, because of the very carefulness are required very much, so that time the MBO program, that's why some is an increase of the paperwork more, or maybe there are the more communications required. So in terms, that is the one of the your disadvantage. Now coming to technological advances, what are the advantages are in the design? Automations, highly simplified design jobs often cause the problems because they offer little intrinsic motivation for the workers. When the automation is there, they don't have the their brain cannot be work, not motivated. There are no such insight, incentive, I mean the initiatives are maybe less. So that is one of the. So this approach increasingly involves in the use of the robots, which are becoming the more and more useful and the reliable, because through these robots we can error can be minimized, because which human error chances are there, but through this robot we can minimize the chances of mistakes. Flexible manufacturing. Flexible manufacturing sells teams of the work using the spatial technology, exploit the adaptive and the integrated job designs to shift work among the alternative products. This approach is gradually more widespread under this system. Cellular manufacturing systems hold your number of automated productions machines that cut, shape, and deal and present the together various metal components. So this is your some sort of technological advances and flexible manufacturing. Electronic offices, electronic office technology was the key when the US healthcare systems and the large private practice based health and maintenance organizations became the interest in the improving the quality of the healthcare services. The company installed a large electronic bulletin board where it is monitoring the progress towards the range of performance goals. It also installed in the electronic mail systems, use the robots to dispense the paper mail, and install a computerized telephone answering machines, automatic voice messages. So everything are is an advantage, advancement are going on technological, and the companies are adopting the things. Then impact of the high technology on the job designs. What are the impact that the electronic offices? Fundamentally, the company try to automate many tasks as a possible to free employees for more challenging ones. Continuing development in these electronic offices present many new job opportunities for those with the necessary abilities and their interests. But they can be stressful and difficult for those who lack the necessary education or skills. Clearly, today's high technologies must be carefully integrated with the human factor, and the continuing educations and the training are still needed to equip the people to deal with the emerging workforce technologies. Because here actually we're going to say whatever the things are doing is very systematically have to do it. So that one we have to see the human skills are really are there because it is necessary. Sufficient education is required, skill is required. So he has to see and understand the high technologies, but very carefully have to integrate it. Yeah. So chances of so that the human factor have to be considered. Then workflow and the process re-engineering. One of the most recent approaches for upgrading the job designs and the organizational performance is based on the concept of process of the re-engineering. The process re-engineering means the analysis, resupplying, and reconfigurations of the actions and the tasks required to reach the work goal. Because you see sometimes what are the workforce is there or maybe what are the machines are there that you have to resupply the things. In the banking systems, you see there are a lot of changes resupplying the things so that it can be improved or the performance can be improved. So organizational performance improvement are required very much and where this process, the re-engineering process are very much required. The approach methodically breaks work process down into their specific components and the subtasks. Analyzes each for relevance and the simplicity, and then does the everything possible reconfigure the process to element to waste times, efforts, and the resources. The job redesign through process re-engineering focus on the every step of the process, from the seeking out for items and the vendors to the obtaining of the bids and to the completion of the necessary forms to the securing of the required signatures and approvals to the actual placing of the order and so on to the point at which the new computer automatically actually arrives in checked and place into the equipment inventory and is finally delivered to the workplace. Because job redesign, here actually they're talking about the computerizations and what the way you have to obtain and everything are now in the portal, because every company nowadays they are giving in the portal or the steps and the process they have defined it, bidding process everything are defined, so all formatted, all the forms are given and the completions how it is usually what things are required, digital signatures are, so everything are in a things and it should be in very secured way where is things are things. So approval process will be faster, actual and place of the order are clear, the point of time, and is it within a time frame it can be do it. So this is the depending on the your impact of the technology, and that has to be do it for the survival purposes, and how and include the technology also. So impediment in the job, in spite of the possible benefits, job design is not easy to implement because implement is very big issues. The major difficulties are as follows. The complexity in the measuring the core job characteristics actually. So measuring is one of the main point. How to measure it? Because sometimes it is difficult. Objectively measuring job contents is very closely and very costly and tough. Therefore, the most preventive tools for the measuring the job content is to ask the employees to uh, portray their perceived job characteristics. However, it is supposed that these perceptions are very often biased. Until an accurate and the cost-effective way to measure the job content is found, job design experts would not be able to point at which jobs and tell you're changing and how well the job design strategies are working. So some of the problem area are given where the challenges are there basically. Then your the contemporary knowledge about the job design is restricted by the is focus on the individual job, especially the literature tend to overlook job design characteristics that apply to team settings. Furthermore, many work settings require team-based job redesign because of the technology is fixed or the work is too complicated for one person to finish the errors. So some sort of team-based job design is very much effective rather than the individuals way. So that is the because otherwise it is very complicated for the one person's finish the job. So that's why the team-based job designs is perfectly okay for these conditions. Job design interventions over and over again the face the resistance to change. Some supervisors don't like job redesign interventions because they change their roles and the many threatens the job security will be there. Trade unions are coming in between. They are also still an antagonist of the job specializations and the specific scientific management. So yet they complain that the job enrichment programs are management plays get more work out of the employees or the less money is less or more is work. So unskilled employees may lack to confidence or growth needs strength to learn more challenging tasks. So skilled employees are known to resist job redesign because they believe the interventions will undercut their power. So best and compel them to perform worse. It is we are saying some of the interventions are required from the top management and because that type of resistance can be avoided and some awareness are very much required, and joint meeting should be there so that before giving these this type of any approaches or any type of redesign. So that type of resistance are normal and it can be sorted out by this because so many factors are there. Now, emerging issues, we have to see some of the emerging issues. What are the things happening? The concept and the nature of the work has undergone the numerous changes over the years. A lot of changes are going on. During the 19th century, workers restless and to safeguard their right and determine how to when they the work. Because at that time, scenario was different. Now, in the 20th century progressed, workers were gradually trapped within the formal economy of jobs and the factories and the tussles to control the amount of labor they would have to the systems in order to live because now it has changes trends like this. For some working time has increased beyond the 8 hours shift into overtime and the additional part-time work also there. An employee cannot say to do this overtime work because the situation is like this. So, but a company has to see how they can compensate the things. So work in the new economy is demand to the different to work in the whole economy systems because the spreading of the informations and the communication technologies. So there is one of the ICT. This is called the informations and the communications technology has changed the way in which the farm is or the business and the creative value. So ICT has the augmented the flexibility of the capital goods, making the capital investment more productive and encouraging the farm to substitute capital for the labor. So this trend contributes to the globalization of the market, has changed the nature of work and its ramifications for the quality of the work life of the people. So some of the job insecurity and your work intensifications. And number two is your some of the few changes are mentioned, flexibilizations and the casualizations. So as often presented the creation of the flexible working patterns. The Britain government introduced the work-life balance campaign in the 2000s. The campaign was to help the employees to recognize the benefits of the adaptation policies so that and these would help the staff to become the better motivated and more productive because they were better able to give the balance of the work and the things. So a lot of things are changes and it is going on how to these things now. Then your better the modern type of the terrorism and is a system of the producing goods and services in which the work process is broken in the smallest part. Now the big work are now spotted in the systematically is analyzing now and these in engineering the maximum profits that can be achieved. So then your commodifications. People close to the work, they did the deed. If they could and invested much of their personality and the ability in the making and the production of the useful and the better of beautiful things. So today the supremacy of the consumptions as a social good and the social status of the people as individually and individual has made the product far more important than the producers. So work has died away to give a personal value for this, but those who sit. In many cases, it does not have a social value to the society. So now, okay, I think now we can. So lots of things are there. So we can now. Thank you very much. Okay.